Hello, happy, it's near Elise's birthday, and it's also near when E3 would have been, and I believe it's the anniversary of when E3 was last year. And last year, I was lying in my hospital bed at home. It was, I couldn't leave my bed, I could barely walk. I had had a major operation. I had tried to quit video games. That's not why I was in the hospital, but I had tried to quit video games because, for history, I was a massive gamer as a kid. I got into Pokemon when I was in like 3rd grade and I was moving houses, and it was just it. I was absorbed. I met one of my best friends for life through it, and it was my comfort zone in elementary school. Come middle school, me and my friend got into Dragon Quest IX. Dragon Quest became our thing really intensely, and that's how RPGs kind of just became the heart of what I did. I played other games. I loved Smash a lot as a kid. I messed around with other Nintendo stuff. It was always the Nintendo consoles I owned. I had like the Xbox 360, I had Minecraft, and I shot things in middle school, just like everyone. And then high school came, and my friend and I kind of went our different ways, but one last game that we both got into together was Fire Emblem Awakening, and oh my god, that was the first time I ever got into characters. I dove into fandom. Lucina changed my life. That was my first all-time favorite character. And I got into competitive Smash because of that, because I loved her so much. I loved Smash so much, and that's right when competitive was getting mad popular. That was a thing that entertained me for a very long time, helped me meet one of my other best friends for life, my rival and old training partner Spenji, who's now a pretty damn good Zelda. We did that together for many years, while also, I guess, playing RPGs, probably a lot of the same RPGs I was playing before. And then 2017 came, and I just couldn't play RPGs anymore, and I did not want to Smash anymore. I discovered Love Live School Idol Festival, and I did not touch a video game again until E3 2019. Legit though, something changed in 2017, and there were many steps along the way in which video games just changed my life. Why did I tell you all this? Because today I am giving you my attempts, my 2020 snapshot of how I would describe my top 10 favorite games of all time, a year after getting back into gaming. So the reason I gave you that whole history is to qualify that I grew up with video games. I have played many different kinds of video games, a very big amount. And I mentioned a bunch of games by name because they have historically been what I would tell you are my absolute favorite. But since getting back into gaming, my tastes are really different now, and I'm going through an identity crisis. And the heart and soul of this top 10 list, I've been debating what belongs where for months now. The heart and soul of this is conflict between old and new, different genres, apples to oranges, unfortunately. I just have not had a sense of what makes one game more favorite than the other, besides love, I guess. And because of how complicated this has been, I actually just made a half-hour of bonus content. I made the making of the top 10 list, and I'm going to release that this evening, just like on its own. Yeah, it's been very complicated. I've been working on it a lot, especially in the last day, but I spent months. I really have had some of these ideas in my head for months. It's hard. It is just a snapshot, and if you gave me more time to sit about it, it would just look so different in a few months. If you asked me a month ago, it would have looked different, but I'm going to take this snapshot. I'm going to tell you what it is, and you're going to see how the future of gaming goes afterwards. I think it's a story full of contradiction, compromise, and change. Anyhow, here we go. Honorable mentions. I'm going to pop in as I go, like a true honorable mention. And then I think before we get to the top 3, I'm going to do my honorable mentions, my official honorable mentions. Okay, number 10. Number 10 is Persona Q. Just forget everything I just told you. Forget all of it. Something I didn't tell you is that I've been trying to get into Etrian Odyssey since like 2013. I've just always had Etrian Odyssey games and been confused by them. And in 2015, I just on a whim decided to get Persona Q. It was the first M-rated 3DS game I ever knew about. That's not why. I was like 17, so it wasn't cool anymore. But my dad picked it up for me, and he's like, it looked different. I thought it'd be fun. He's like, yeah, it is pretty different. It is funky, obviously. I've never played a Persona game. This is my only exposure. It's a game with a lot of soul. I didn't even understand what was going on, but I believed it and I went with it, and I remember every single character, even the ones that were not on my team, vividly. I can tell you like 3 sentences about all of them. I know even who dies in their main games. It was so nice to meet such a great cast of characters in such a solid game. But to get down to the business of it, again, I had never made it past like World 1 or 2 of an Etrian Odyssey game, but because of like the puzzles and because of the fun of like the voice acting, the characters, the personas are ugly. They're super ugly to me, but I liked the complexity of everybody having like their weapon and an elemental attack and then a few other things going on that are specific to them. It was really fun. It was really fun to raise my party. It was one of the only games where I needed to beat it so badly that I grinded for like 16 hours in 2 days. Like I really wanted to beat it, and beating it was heaven. It was so satisfying to beat. It was truly, truly magical. I was up at like 1 a.m. I could not lose. I'd already been fighting the boss for like 2 hours because I was just keeping myself alive with cheap, easy tactics for healing. Literally last hit, the Persona 4 protagonist fell down. My dude just like thunder sword or something. Very, very last hit with the boss. Literally. Oh, it was so magical. It was like 2 a.m. and then it just passed out. Anyhow, it was a very special game. I really just enjoyed playing through it. Really well made. And it was a great idea. I mean, I don't sign off on all Atlas's business practices, but I do sign off on that crossover. Number 9 is Fire Emblem Awakening for the Nintendo 3DS. This game had defined my life in high school. It was a huge motivation in coming out because of the transness of one of the main characters, Lucina. She's not trans, but gender gets involved with her story. Yeah, Fire Emblem was just the right thing at the right time. I'd always been interested in the series because I played Marth in Melee as a kid. I was like, he's the one. So when I saw there was going to be a game that I could buy on the 3DS in English, I bought it. A lot of people I think were that way. And it was a darling in 2013. It was a well-made game. I really enjoyed playing it. I think the strategy of it was great. It felt great. I vividly remember just like situations where like I had like Callum was a tank and then Tharja for some reason was a tank, and I remember maybe it was Stahl was a tank or something, and had 2 of them blocking off this one road at like chapter 12 or 14 maybe, where Wildheart's army is like attacking the harbor, and there's just all these like knights on horses and like way harder stuff than you've ever fought, and just like a million moments like that I just like vividly remember because of how just like engaging and exciting the gameplay was. I haven't really played that much for strategy RPGs since then. I think a lot of what I enjoyed about it, just like building up party members, I would grind DLC kind of grinding stuff to get my characters that I liked absurdly strong. I always had like god tier strong children. I played like 6 games of it because I just liked playing my favorite games a lot back then. It hasn't aged that great because I think any character from some other games would outshine the cast now. They were just my first cast of characters that I really liked. I don't know what to say. I was watching my friend play it recently and I'm like, this is a great game. It doesn't have that many favorite points anymore, but it was great. I don't know. It's a bit of a low performance maybe compared to how important it was to me, but the more I thought on it, the more I was like, this is where it's going in 2020. And it may be the last year that it appears in a top 10 list. I don't know about the future. Number 8 is Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. And after what I said about Pokemon creating me as a gamer, I was really shocked that there wasn't any other Pokemon game I wanted to put on here. But that doesn't mean that Let's Go Eevee didn't earn this, because I've just been having a hard time getting engaged with Pokemon for a long time. Back in 2017, where I just stopped gaming, I literally had a game of Heart Gold that was like so fun when I started it, and then I downloaded School Idol Festival, and it just didn't seem fun anymore. I couldn't beat it. I had to force myself to beat it. And I haven't like gotten back. Pokemon Sword, for some reason, I just flew through. It might have just been because everybody was doing it, or it might have been because the gyms were so hyped. So there's an honorable mention. Very hyped gyms. But oh my god, Hoenn in the summer, Unova I never liked very much. Beating Kalos' national dex was really nice. Alola was really just a splash on the radar. I don't know, things haven't been the same between me and Pokemon ever since I completed the national dex back in high school and just like forced it out and just kind of like beat the fun out of it. It's been a slow journey getting the fun back into Pokemon, and Sword and Shield started it, but Let's Go Eevee finished it. That game is so much fun. To get stuff out of the way, I have now finally played through it. I really took my time with it. I do feel held back by no abilities. I do feel bored with no items and no breeding and that kind of thing. I guess kind of those specific things were a way of preserving some kind of quality from Pokemon Yellow. But what about all the other things that have nothing to do with Pokemon Yellow? That's my one critique. I would say that being only Kanto and not that fun to battle in was, it's not gonna break much higher than 8th. But God, it's the most beautiful game. It's so pretty. I never cared about these towns. Leaf Green was my first Pokemon game, so I've been in Kanto a long time and I still don't quite like it, but this was the first time where I was like, you know what, some of these designs are pretty good. And you know what, this layout at the crossroad in Saffron City, that's pretty good. It's easy to get around once you beat it. It's like, feels like it's really winding when you're beating it. It's a pretty well thought out generation. It's not my favorite, but it's pretty great. The Pokemon look amazing. You have partners walking with you, all kinds of partners walking with you. And the best thing of all, I'm putting myself out there to get shot saying this. I love how the routes work. I love the Go catching system. I don't even play Pokemon Go anymore. It's just like engaging with Pokemon in an action-y way is great. Like, I don't understand why we have formal battles with them in the wild anyhow. Like, it's awesome, like running into them and catching them yourself. It's just beyond the actual tactile feeling of catching them being fun for me. I like chaining. I love how catching a bunch of them is like an amazing way of grinding. It just keeps me in their roots. When I'm playing that game, I'm on their roots, catching things or walking around with them. Like, it's just so easy to get engaged with the roots in a way that it isn't in another game where you just beat it once, you come back to like hunt for your fave Pokemon or something with RNG for some reason, then you never touch the root again. With this, just the grass is so much more exciting, and I think it's great. I don't like how easy it is to get shinies, or just how different it is to get shinies. Shinies to me, the more you touch, the more I'm bothered, but yeah, right now, there's a few things sitting on this list as a challenge to ask other games to come beat them, and this is definitely one of those. It's not gonna hold the throne forever. I don't want to force Pokemon Go stuff on everybody and make it like the standard, but right now it's my favorite Pokemon game. That's just where it is right now. Number 7, Animal Crossing New Horizons. Sorry for the audio quality difference. I actually forgot to record this. A few days went by and I sat down, and in a horrifying moment, I was like, I never recorded Animal Crossing. I skipped from 8 to 6, and I looked back at the recording, and that was true. But anyhow, Animal Crossing New Horizons. Oh god, it's the newest game on this list. That might be a spoiler, maybe. Oh god, now this is a game that I think is going to age well. Time and Animal Crossing are a whole big deal. Like, when you play it, who you play it with, I guess, time of year, if the game is new or not, there's a lot of factors, and literally there could never have been a better hype cycle or a better release for Animal Crossing New Horizons. It's all that we wanted for so long. It was so exciting. Like in 2018 when we were told Animal Crossing was coming, it was always exciting to wait for it. It was so exciting to see what it was, that it wasn't that bad of a deal to have it delayed. And it was just so thrilling whenever we saw more of it. It was just a game that I couldn't believe was real. It looked way too good to be real. Like, it's just my favorite art style. It's just comfy and cozy, like some other games on this list. Just the specific way that everything comes together. I don't know if it's shell shaded or what, but nature looks so lush yet so cartoonish. The animals are just so friendly now that I've played it. The Animal Village are like emotes, and the way they emote back at you, and I like their dialogue a lot. The funny part about ranking this is it's been debated like every day on my timeline for like 3 months now, over 3 months, or 2 months I suppose. That's kind of weird. But yeah, it's been, obviously everything that's been said has been said about this game. It's extremely popular, and I'm quite tired of it being talked about. I'm really excited for when the fandom kind of fades on this one. No big fandom is ever without its burdens, but I've played over 100 hours in 2 months. It was legendary. The weekend that it came out, I played it like an anime convention. I played it for like 21 hours. I had my first night where everything was magical. I hung out with friends all day the next day. Third day, I did a panel. I actually streamed it with YouTuber friends, and it was crazy. I played like 21 hours in a weekend. I never game like that, but it came out during coronavirus, like when it just became a thing, like when you were just starting to socially isolate and stuff, so It was obviously it was a very, very powerful and memorable release, but the question is, how does it hold up? I can barely continue playing it right now. I literally just think I've played too much of it, which is my fault. I've seen a lot of harsh critiques about quality of life and that sort of thing, and they're really valid. For me, I am fine with the gameplay. I would say that it is my favorite Animal Crossing. I am saying that right now. The gameplay is very gripping. It uses a lot of mobile game techniques, in sometimes a bad way. The Easter event was a catastrophe, but sometimes, and for the brunt of the game, a good way. There's just so many things you can do that are exciting to do, be it like daily things, which can be pretty tedious, or simply just having new ways to milk parts of your town. Like, the rocks are more engaging because every rock gives you a little something. The trees, I'm shaking trees for the first time ever. That was my first take on this game, and it's still my take on this game. It's a game that puts me in touch with my island in a new way. It makes it all very video gamey and compelling to play, and it made me care about customization in a way that I never really had before. For me, it's the first time where I love just like taking care of my town and curating all of it and just doing it, but it's hard to find a balance, obviously, and I'm still struggling with it, and it'll be a game for a while. It could settle anywhere from 10 to 1 in my top 10 favorite games of all time for a long time. I don't know where it's gonna sit, but this is where I'm nestling it for now. It's a great, great, great start. That's just kind of somehow losing me every 3 or 4 weeks. I get too depressed to play it. It may be over inundation. We'll see. But of course it's new, so this is a rocket, really, really high start. That's all I have to say about it. So, number 6. Checking my notes. Number 6 is Dragon Quest Heroes Rocket Slime. This fucker boinged into the list like 2 nights ago. I had not thought about it in over a decade. And then I was thinking, what do I like in a video game? And I remembered this bastard from like when I was 8. It was one of the very first games I ever played on my DS, back when gaming was just kind of getting going for me. I was at my friend's house, one of my friends, and I was like, I'm just gonna play my DS because we're 7 and we're both playing our DSs. And then his neighbor came over and he also had Dragon Quest Rocket Slime, and I was like, whoa! And then we played it together and we were like in each other's tanks, like, I don't know what we were doing. We were just like fucking around, and it was amazing, and we're still friends to this day. He was my friend too. I played like every Nintendo game with growing up, basically. But the point of it is, there is some novelty in this game that just doesn't exist anywhere else. Dragon Quest, I guess, has always been around for me. I didn't until recently consider myself to really like it as a series, but this game is perfect. It captures the most fun of the Dragon Quest monsters of any game, and it does it in a way that isn't totally daffy or silly or like crude. It's just very wacky and earnest, and the vibe is strong, and I think it affected me more than I thought it did as a taste-making game. But as somebody who's now a lot more into action games and RPGs, just oh my god, boinging is fun. Stretching out and attacking things is fun. Collecting items is fun. And guess what you do when you're in a tank fight, which is the core like thing you do in this game. You get ammo, you get team members, you put them in your tank and you fight. You do it all by boinging. You boing ammo into the cannon, you boing over, you boing your enemies to death, you boing in and destroy their engine. It's all built around this fun mechanic of boinging, and like, that's genius. Like, it's a game I am fine to be known as a fan of. Like, it is simple, it is high quality, and it's just good video gaminess. And yeah, it outcompeted Fire Emblem Awakening. Moving right along. Oh, is it really? I'm gonna change that. Am I really gonna? Yeah, I'm gonna change that. Number 4, The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker. The Legend of Zegend, The Wind was one of the first things that made me want to play more Zelda games than just Breath of the Wild. E3 2019, we saw a trailer for Breath of the Wild 2, and I was like, I want to get in on that. I never played Zelda as a kid, and I've spent like 22 years not being a Zelda fan. I've become a huge Zelda fan. I have played through 11. I've played through every game, or at least touched every game, except for the ones that were made in 2006 to 2011. I don't know why. I've played an expansive amount of Zelda, but it started as me just playing Breath of the Wild because I had it on my Switch, and I hadn't really been enjoying it, but Breath of the Wild is my honorable mention here. It earnestly got me interested in gaming again. I was like, what motivates me to go explore an area? What like makes me happy and feel at home when I'm playing a game? And I was totally planning on it being my only Zelda game ever. I was like, oh, I'm glad there's a sequel so I can play like my second only Zelda game ever. And then I saw just Wind Waker, like GIFs, just like cute things, like Toon Link being on his boat and stuff, and like little like plant worlds. I was like, this is amazing. And lo and behold, it was amazing. Wind Waker is really taste making for me. It's just a great example of what I like in a world. I like how the grass looks in HD. I like how the water looks. I like how the islands feel. I like the people. I like all of it, honestly. But the issue with Wind Waker is I'm smitten with it as a brand. It kind of confused me as a game. It was one of my first traditional Zeldas, and I've played much more 2D than 3D at this point, and I hadn't played any 3D besides like a pinch of Ocarina of Time and then Breath of the Wild at that point. So it's a game I really need to revisit and see where it stands, because despite being so hyped to finally play the boat game, I wasn't totally smitten with the boat. The ocean felt a bit too big and empty for me, and boating was just boating, and I didn't overly love having to fight the enemies every time I had to fight them on a boat. The combat ended up becoming pretty damn fun on land. I liked all my items quite a lot, and I like Link, and I like all the characters. The characters are great. The view is really high. I think I have really big hopes for it. I don't know how long it's gonna stay up here. It's really gonna take some revisiting and seeing what was it that kind of confused me. Like, why didn't I engage with it that much? How could I have liked it better? And we'll see how it ages, but it's just one of those video games that's just full of me, and it's number 5. But, gotta take a swig of water. But, number 4, Dragon Quest IX, Sentinels of the Starry Skies. This is the DS Dragon Quest. This is the customization Dragon Quest. It is, the return of Dragon Quest to being a Nintendo exclusive, and it is cute and it is fun. It came out in like 2009 or 10. It's about customization. You get to totally customize your team, like Bravely Default, Final Fantasy V, or Dragon Quest 3 style. 4 characters, whatever class you want, totally customize how they look, and best of all, your equipment shows up on them. You can see what you're wearing, and like literally, like gloves will be on there as gloves, boots will be on there as boots, like you can put wigs on them. It's just very cute and great. Dragon Quest IX is my favorite RPG. It is my favorite game from my childhood also. Dragon Quest IX, I've spent many months being like, that's number 2. That is number 2. And then last night I was like, oh, I don't like RPGs anymore. The issue is, Dragon Quest IX, I love to play so much. It takes away the strain of grinding with really fun grinding enemies like metal slimes. It is the best co-op ever. You can do anything you want in the game with one of your buddy's main characters, so it just makes it so much more fun to get strong because you can bring your skills to your friends. And there's a rumor, there's direct talk about a remake, because they've got a lot on their plates over at Dragon Quest Land, but there's a real talk about a Dragon Quest IX Switch remake, which would be incredible. It is so cute already, and then to have this console with these friends and like this kind of game, that would have a permanent place in my top games of all time. That is just the most I could ever ask of an RPG. But the thing is, it's a game that keeps me super interested in the long haul. Like, it has this deep, impossible to get to post-game stuff that's pretty fun to go through, but it's getting outcompeted by some newer games just because genre limitations. Just RPGs are not that gripping to me right now. I love this game. The vibe, did I even talk about the vibe? It's about angels. You're an angel. You're an angel with cute wings and halos and angel friends, and then you fall, and then you find out that a Garu fairy also fell from heaven, and you have to be friends now. There's a Garu fairy. Like, all the way through my childhood, there was one of my favorite, like, fashion/fictional tropes, like, right there with me the whole time. It has so much sass and soul, like, as a game. It's just, the vibes are unparalleled. The music's whimsical. It's a talk about taste masting. It's so taste masting. It masted all of my tastes and made me like whimsical things. The reason that it's not any higher actually gets harder to talk about without looking at what's hidden above it in the top 3. And before I do that, it's important that we do our honorable mentions. So, as mentioned, Love Live School Idol Festival. I guess I gotta put up footage of this now, huh? Love Live School Idol Festival is the really dingy little mobile game that inspired a whole lot of other dingy little mobile games to sell anime and make you invested unhealthily in characters, and boy did I love it. It was so much fun. It brought me together with so many friends, and it was nice like collecting, especially in the original SIF. SIF-AS has some of my favorite characters at all times in it, and I deleted it off my phone because Sunday I decided I don't want to play mobile games anymore. So that's a huge factor in this whole list. Yeah, SIF-AS deserves honorable mention too because it was really interesting. It had interesting gameplay besides just being addictive. It had cool strategy. And I mean, Love Live is just great. I played too much of it to honorably mention it. Similarly to that, I'm going to honorably mention Smash 4, but then also every Smash game. I haven't actually mentioned it since my backstory, but yeah, Smash 4 I was competitive with. I played like 1,000 hours of it. I played so much of it. It was my whole identity for a long time. It's not great, but I'm pretty damn good at it. And Ultimate almost made the cut to this list. There's just an issue with Smash. It's just losing its soul. When Sakurai has said like every single time he doesn't want to make the next game, like every single time he either says or alludes to the fact like I didn't want to make this, but he's great at making them. If I knew the original Smash at all, I might list that as my favorite because the heart of Smash is so good. It's just great gameplay and it's so fun to play with friends. It's just a strong game, but Melee was like my childhood one. Brawl had a lot of soul. Both those games, like they had like soul, small rosters, kind of a cohesive vibe, except both of them are kind of just edgy. Maybe you could call Melee Vaporwave, but I don't know who you're enabling when you say that. Brawl was like opera and like wicked gritty, which isn't really my thing. But then Smash 4 came around, and yeah, it had Lucina, so I played like 8 trillion hours of it, but gosh, I remember being like, oh wow, it's simple. There were 2 of it. It was just corporate. It was just so corporate. It was just like we're making another game. There's gonna be a whole bunch of characters. And on one hand, I hate Ultimate for what it has decided the series is about now. Because come on, this historically has been about Nintendo's greatest, duke it out. We don't need Terry from your favorite fighting game. Like, this gets into very contentious territory, but I'm not saying that Dragon Quest isn't an important series. What I'm saying is I disagree with Sakurai's decision to make this a game about honoring gaming's greatest and other things, and like making it a Hall of Fame with crossovers. It's neat. It's especially neat when you look at the fact that everybody from every Smash game is in it, everybody from every video game ever is in it. It's neat, but it's bloated, and there's so many characters, and when you're mostly pulling from gaming icons, you're just adding a bunch of boring men to the roster. Just the DLC and the new characters and all has been so disappointing for me. When you look at like just the huge amount of women and like cute mascots that were added in Smash 4, it was a much more hopeful time. But Ultra I think is my favorite Smash because it plays great and Daisy's there. Earnestly, it's a step in the right direction. It has a little bit more sass, it has a little bit more good energy, and it plays great. I much prefer the faster, more combo-centric style to Smash 4. I only played Smash 4 truly because it had Lucina and my friends were playing it. I'm just not into it anymore. It aged like fucking milk. I don't know. But no, Ult plays great. It's nice having friends who play it, and I'm still great at it. It's still really fun finding out combos with new characters. I find in Ult, I solo mained Lucina, the simplest character ever in Smash 4. And as soon as I got to Ult, I was like, I need to find the most complicated characters ever and play all of them. It's really satisfying compared to Smash 4. It's so nice playing characters and comboing. After that, the Kirby series is getting its actually only nod. Kirby has a lot of potential to take over my life in the next few years. I've been predicting it for a while. I'm just going to honorably mention Amazing Mirror. It was like one of my first Kirby games, probably my first one. It's really neat. It's really pretty. It has a style that you saw in my Squeak Squad Let's Play that I like quite a lot. It has great little sprite-y looks, and it's Metroidvania, which is really different. You can just explore all the routes and they all connect, and you can just go on Kirby adventures and find treasure, and it's great. I've never been able to appreciate the multiplayer, but if I could, that would add a whole layer. it's kind of boring. It was my first game that I played when I got back into gaming and stopped like my fasts of games where I decided to just cut them off. When I came back, I played Amazing Mirror and I was like, this is sick. I love the fighting ability. Like, this takes me back. It's been very boring. I've played it too much probably in the last few years, and I played it as a kid, so all the routes just get burned into your head since it's like you're retraversing them every single time. I don't know. I'm gonna honorably mention Kirby that way. Well, that's it for honorable mentions. And now we are heading into the grand trilogy. Number 3, Celeste. No series, no subtitle, just Celeste by Extremely OK Games is what they're called now. It was Matt Makes Games before. Celeste. I bought my Switch 2018. Hadn't played a game in a long time. I just figured I should get one for some reason. And I got Breath of the Wild, and it confused me, and I wouldn't pick it up again for another year and a half. And I also bought Celeste. And boy, did I play Celeste. Celeste was my return to gaming after quite a long time, and it was my first time where I was like, hey, that's stuff that I learned about like frames and like hand awareness from competitive Smash. That could be fun in other situations. Celeste is a really hard platformer with a lot of soul. It is, you jump and you can dash and you can grab walls and everything's mountain themed. And they try to kill you. The platforms are extremely hard to grab, and that is it. Celeste was an extremely solid experience, even having not played a game in a while, where I would go into a level, I would see what's being asked of me, I would just think, I physically cannot ever do what you're asking of me. So many times out loud I would say, you ask too much of me. And then you do it, you figure out the new mechanic, you just get slightly more accurate with it, and you do it, and oh my god, that feeling was so good. It's just a game built on overcoming little things, and the story is about a girl who's, I think, trans through hints, overcoming things she didn't think she could. It talks about anxiety, she makes a friend, she combats her demons, and it's all just platforms. It's great, it's so inspired, and the one thing is it's a bit gloomy and it's a bit hard, and those together keep me from playing it a ton. I love playing it, I'm pretty good at moving her around. I'd love to work through more of the hard levels like post-game eventually, but for being so gorgeous and so fun, it spends far too much time hurting me and taking me to like underground dank levels that I don't want to be in. I would be so much happier if there were more pretty easy levels, but the more you play, the easier it gets, of course, so talk to me again when I've mastered it. Talk to me again when there's nothing that they can throw at me that I can't do. I'm just not always in the mood to get my ass kicked, and if I do get my ass kicked, I'd rather do it on a level like the very last one that's breathtaking than like some stank underground dungeon where there's octopuses. Like they just took you underground way too much in that game for it to break top 2. But talking about a game that never goes underground, number 2, Dragalia Lost. This game is the best brand, the best like energy of a game ever. Far and away the game that most impacts me musically. It's fantasy with hip hop, it's dancey, it's so good. The Daoko makes all the music, it's so visionary, the best vibes ever. Everyone's just nice. The prince of the kingdom with the dragons and the drama, he just overcomes all his problems by making friends, which is perfect for gacha. It has the best energy, just like everybody is just like, I don't know, optimistic and nice. It has the best scenery, the backgrounds are so pretty, and just the colors being used are always breathtaking. There's like swamps where you can see stars hit the water, there's these mountains with clouds and a little bit of pink on them, there's these forests that are pretty forests, breathtaking scenery. The cast is fantastic. I wish so badly that Nintendo would expand this IP and just make like zombie media anime, like the Pokemon anime. You could just take any of these characters from the gacha and just make an episode about them and what they do and how they meet the prince. It's like Scooby-Doo or the Pokemon anime. Like, you could endlessly milk how nice these trope characters are. It just nails so many fantasy tropes. It's just... I'm saying all this because it was a shitty game. Along with the other games, I deleted it and I stopped after a year of playing my second account. I was with it from the start. I took many breaks and then I returned. I accidentally lost my first account. And around this time last year, I started a new account. It was an amazing year, but I realized I just had to stop eventually because gacha blows and mobile games blow. And I say that as somebody who championed them for so long. Gacha blows. Basically, I realized that being a modern mobile game, it had become a game of economy. And most of my time wasn't spent playing, which was only marginally fun. The dragon transformation mechanic, at the end of a level, you push a button, you turn into a dragon. It's nice, it's like dropping a bomb on the enemy, but it's not that satisfying because the whole level, you're steamrolling enemies. They're so weak, you just whoosh, crush through them. It's kind of like a Warriors game, which I've never been that into. But if you're not running them over, you're getting stomped by them so badly. It never kept me in that window of challenge and hope that Celeste was so good at. I was either just zoning out because it was too easy or zoning out because I was losing. And if you're losing, you gotta just use these tickets to get that item, to upgrade that, so you can get that, so you can get this currency, so you can play gacha. Nope, you got a bad roll, so you gotta go get that, and you can use these tickets for this. It was all just about numbers and balancing and materials and transferring, and it sucks. It really sucks to have to stop, and I'm waiting so much for it to come back to me in some other form, some game that I enjoy more. I basically just realized it's probably my favorite Nintendo franchise, and I hate playing it. It hurt me, it made me feel guilty it's a pretty chill gacha as they go, but if you stop for a few weeks, you're gonna feel crappy that you missed out on building whatever the last event gave you, and you're gonna feel crappy when you see a new pretty girl and you don't get her, and you just get a bunch of dupes because you've been playing for a year and there's nothing new anymore. Didn't age great. Gacha games are made to last forever. I had to make mine end, but god damn it, there were good times along the way. The gacha was so generous when it wasn't giving you dragons that you didn't care about at all. There's so many interesting characters. I was so lucky. I think I had every fire girl in the game or something. I had such funny polls, and they're on this channel. So you know that I enjoyed it quite a lot, and I will say it's number 2 right now. It's gonna fall. It's definitely gonna fall. But right now, that is just the second best thing a video game could possibly do for me. And I'm waiting for something to come along and outdo it. But for the moment, the best thing that a video game could do for me would be The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, remade for the Switch. This game just rocked my world. It's like a one-for-one remake of a game from like 1991 or something, with like a toy aesthetic, and it was perfect. It was perfect. I didn't know going into it that I was gonna like it so much. I knew that I liked it, but an interesting thing happened today where I finished 100%ing The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. I played Link's Awakening back in February, like 3 months ago, and God, I just couldn't put it down. I picked it up and I was like, oh, I want that heart piece, and I want to go over there. And oh my god, what if I got boots eventually? And oh my god, this dungeon might give me boots, and then I get the boots and it's like, oh my god, and the world opens up a bit. It was just perfectly paced. Felt so good to play, and it was so nice making progress. And that one game, that magical, what I will say is the best fun I've ever had playing through a game, was so powerful that I just became a different person. Remember when I played the same RPG for 300 hours? Well, this May. And over the course of like 19 days, I 100% beat in like 25 hours Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. I just picked it up and I'm like, oh, this is my friend. 2D Zelda is my friend. And I just wanted to pick every corner of the world apart. I wanted to solve every single puzzle. I love just like using my intuition and just like guessing at what's gonna happen and being like, oh my god, that is what happened. And just, I did not want to stop, and that was built by Link's Awakening. My Zelda experience was very whatever before Link's Awakening, but oh my god, just talk about a good game. You met these people and you do a few things together and you immediately feel like, these are my friends. And then weird things happen and you're fine with it because the game is such a weird, nice, whimsical, daffy tone. And I don't know what to say. It's just, I've been planning on giving this number 1 for a long time. If you listen to the making of this, I almost faltered because, you know, it's gonna get outdone someday, I think. It's a little too wacky. It's very simple and it's a little hard to go back and replay right now, but god, it was just the most magical experience ever beating it, and it's the best experience I've ever had with a video game. Just, I loved the island, I loved getting my items. There were so few items and that made them so like potent when you got them. A lot of your first items were just like for movement. I liked collecting the things, I liked upgrading my hearts, I ended up liking fishing. I liked getting the new like trophies from the crane game. I liked the crane game. It just was perfect. And I'm not saying it's the most like complex or modern or well-adjusted game ever. I don't even think it's fair to charge $60 for it, since it's just a really intensely good coat of paint on a really, really old game. But I've been planning for months now to just say this is my favorite game of all time. And it just came into my life like in February, just as a challenge to other games. Just that's what this list is. I finally said it all. I can finally move on to talking about why I did all this, and you can listen to my reasoning in the other video. But this list is a challenge to other games to come and outdo these games. Like, why is my favorite game of all time my second favorite game of all time? Why is one of my favorite games of all time a shitty gacha game? It was not fun to play, but it had so much soul. And then you get that kind of soul in Link's Awakening, and it's actually fun to play, and it blows me away. Dragalia Lost was taste making, and I didn't say that enough. Dragalia Lost completely defined what I want. It was so hard to delete it off my phone, because I don't know if I'll ever see, if there's not more Dragalia games, I might never see a game that I like more, just like the soul of, than that. Dragalia, DQ9, and Link's Awakening were all in contention for number 1. Celeste was 3 or 4, solidly 3 or 4. But yeah, those 3 video games in Celeste they made me realize the things that I liked to do and how I liked to do them, and they were the best, and they might not be the best for a long time, but right now they were. And literally, I'm gonna go play Super Paper Mario right now and play a game that has nice puzzles and has a cool cast and great vibes and feels good to play. And I'm gonna see if I can't start replacing my top 10 faves of all time, or at least my top 50 or something. But that was my very crazy video about video games. I hope you enjoyed it. It was hard. I'm really glad to be done recording it. And I hope it's not too hard to edit. I have to do that between now and when I post it. But thank you for listening. I mentioned in the other video, please give me feedback if you like hearing about top 10s. Let me know what you want me to do next year if I do another big top 10 for E3. Would it be boring to just reshuffle my top 10 of all time? Personally, if you listen in the making of the top 10, you realize I had a hard time comparing a lot of these games. But it was a fun experience, and I hope it was fun to hear me talk about these games. But that has gone on long enough. Thank you. Have a good year. And I'm gonna go play some new video games.